Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show, Teri.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Music and Me, the podcast where we dive into the music that inspires us, moves us, and makes life just a little more magical. I'm your host, Teri, and I've got something extra special to talk about today. Broadway's roaring masterpiece, The Lion King. Here's a fun fact. I've never been to New York City, but that's all about to change this March when I finally get to visit the Big Apple for the very first time. I did mention this in my very first episode of season 3, so if you haven't listened to that one, please go back and listen to it. And on my dream trip, I'll be checking out 3 musicals on Broadway: Wicked, Aladdin, and of course, The Lion King. Now, I've been lucky enough to see Wicked and Aladdin in St. Louis, but The Lion King is the only one I've not experienced live so far. It's an unforgettable show that's truly in a league of its own, and I cannot wait to talk about it with all of you. And I can't wait to see it on Broadway. From the powerful opening number to the innovative puppetry and stunning costumes, The Lion King is a musical that takes you on an emotional and visual journey unlike anything else. But before we dive into this episode, I have a quick favor. If you love this podcast, please share it with your fellow musical-loving friends, family, or anyone who dreams of the magic of Broadway or just loves music. Sharing helps grow this amazing community, and I'd love to have even more of you along for the ride. All right, are you ready? Let's step into the Serengeti and explore the wonder of The Lion King on Broadway. My love for The Lion King goes way back, like all the way back to 1994 when the original Disney animated movie hit theaters. I still remember sitting in that theater, absolutely blown away as the circle of life blasted through the speakers and baby Simba was raised high above the savannah. I was 17 or 18 years old at the time, but let's be real. I've always been a kid at heart and still am. And that moment unlocked a level of joy I'll never forget. I didn't just like the movie, I was obsessed. And if you know me, you know how obsessed I can get with things. I had the soundtrack on constant repeat, collected more toys than I'll ever admit, and yes, I even decked out my room with Lion King bed sheets and matching curtains. Rafiki and Simba were basically part of my decor squad. But The Lion King wasn't just a movie, it became an unstoppable force. And when Disney decided to bring it to the Broadway stage in 1997, it felt like magic reimagined. Julie Taymor's incredible vision transformed that story we all knew and loved into something totally groundbreaking. Stunning puppetry, breathtaking costumes, and those same Elton John and Tim Rice songs. Now, even more powerful on stage. It's a show that doesn't just tell a story, it immerses you in it. Whether it's the emotional charged He Lives in You or the carefree fun of Hakuna Matata, the musical has something for everyone. And for me, it's a reminder of why I fell in love with The Lion King all those years ago. So today, we're going to explore how this beloved story evolved from screen to stage, why it continues to captivate audiences of all ages, and of course, some of the music and moments that make it truly unforgettable. So let's dive in, shall we? Let's kick things off with the heart of it all, the story. If you've seen The Lion King, and let's be honest, who hasn't at least heard of it? You already know it's a journey packed with family drama, epic battles, and some of the catchiest songs ever written. At its core, it's the story of Simba, a young lion cub destined to be king, who has navigated loss, guilt, and betrayal to claim his rightful place in the circle of life. Sound familiar? That's because The Lion King has deep roots in storytelling traditions. It borrows elements from Shakespeare's Hamlet. You know, the whole uncle murders dad, son seeks revenge thing. But it also draws heavily from African storytelling. From the breathtaking visuals of the Serengeti to the rhythms and harmonies of the music, it's a beautiful blend of cultures and tales that feels both universal and uniquely vibrant. Now, let's fast forward to 1997, when Disney decided to take this animated classic and reimagine it for the Broadway stage. Easy, right? Nope. Turning an animated film with singing animals into a live stage production was no small feat, as you can imagine. Enter Julie Taymor, a visionary director who looked at this challenge and said, "Hold my lion mane." Taymor brought The Lion King to life in a way that no one had ever seen before. Her use of innovative puppetry and costumes was revolutionary. Picture this: actors on stilts as giraffes, intricate shadow puppets, and life-sized elephants marching through the aisles of the theater, which I cannot wait to see. The staging transformed a simple proscenium into a vast expanse of the Serengeti. It wasn't just a musical, it was an experience, and I cannot wait to live that experience. I'm sure I'll tell you all about it after I go. It wasn't without its challenges, though. How do you make an audience forget that they're watching people in costumes and let them fully immerse themselves in this animal kingdom? Taymor's solution was genius. Celebrate the theatricality. She didn't try to hide the puppeteers or the mechanisms behind the costumes. Instead, she leaned into it, creating a breathtaking fusion of art and performance that brought the magic of The Lion King to life in a completely new way. From the moment that the show premiered, it was clear that it wasn't just an adaptation, it was a reinvention. And the audience, they were hooked. You can't see the opening number with Rafiki belting out Circle of Life as the animals fled the stage without feeling chills. It's Broadway at its boldest and most brilliant. So whether you're a fan of the movie, a lover of Shakespeare, or just someone who appreciates a spectacular stage production, The Lion King delivers on every level. Up next, we're going to talk about the music that makes this show so unforgettable. But first, here's my interesting fact of the week. Welcome to my interesting fact of the week. Okay, if you've seen The Lion King on Broadway, you know it is a visual masterpiece. But did you ever notice the grass dancers? No? Well, that's the whole point. They're the hidden gems of the show, literally blending into the scenery. Picture this. The stage is alive with animals, majestic lions, towering giraffes, elegant antelopes, and in between them, the grass itself is swaying, shifting, and even reacting to the movement of the creatures around it. But here's the kicker. It's not actually grass. These are performers dressed in flowing green costumes, gracefully weaving through the stage, creating the illusion of a vast, living Serengeti. This isn't just for aesthetics, though it does look stunning. It adds an extra layer of depth and motion, making the world of The Lion King feel even more immersive. It's one of those tiny details that you might not consciously notice, but without it, the stage wouldn't feel nearly as alive. So, the next time you see The Lion King, keep an eye out for the grass. I know I'm going to keep an eye out for the grass. It might just be dancing. And now, back to our episode. Welcome back, everyone. All right, let's dive deeper into the music that makes The Lion King a masterpiece. The songs are more than just catchy tunes. They're the emotional backbone of the story, blending humor, heart, and heritage into one unforgettable soundtrack. Let's talk about the dream team behind the music. Elton John and Tim Rice, who worked their magic on the original animated film, delivered iconic songs like Can You Feel the Love Tonight, Hakuna Matata, and The Circle of Life. But when it came to Broadway, the creative team upped the ante by collaborating with Lebo M., Mark Messina, Hans Zimmer, and even director Julie Taymor. They expanded the score, weaving in rich African musical traditions and adding brand new numbers that elevated the story to another level. So let's break down some of the highlights. First, Circle of Life. This isn't just a song, it's an event. The moment Rafiki's voice rings out with those legendary opening Zulu lyrics, which I'm not going to repeat because I can't pronounce them, you're instantly transported to the Serengeti. The animals, the sunrise, the music. It's a visual and auditory spectacle that's nothing short of jaw-dropping. On Broadway, it sets the tone for the entire show, reminding us of the connection between life and the beauty of the natural world. Next up, Hakuna Matata, a fan favorite for a reason. This playful, upbeat anthem is pure joy. It's Timon and Pumbaa's life philosophy wrapped in a song, reminding us to let go of our worries and enjoy the moment. The staging adds to the fun with colorful visuals and a lively comedic energy that lifts the audience's spirits. It's a reminder that even among the heavy themes, there's room for laughter and levity. Next, Shadowland. It's a Broadway exclusive and a total showstopper. This is Nala's moment to shine, a soaring ballad where she declares her determination to save the Pride Lands. The emotion in this song is palpable, showcasing Nala's strength, courage, and deep connection to her homeland. It's beautifully written and adds a layer of depth to her character that wasn't explored in the movie. And the cast recording, the original Nala, Heather Headley, she has an amazing voice. And as I've mentioned before, I have seen her in person at the Muni in St. Louis when she was in Into the Woods and played my favorite character in that show, the witch. So she's awesome. Next up, we have He Lives in You. Now, this song originally appeared in the sequel film of The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, but on Broadway, it takes on a life of its own. It's a deeply spiritual moment as Simba grapples with his fears and finally reconnects with the legacy of his father. This song is hauntingly beautiful with its mix of African rhythms, harmonies, and emotional lyrics. This song is the turning point in Simba's journey where he steps into his role as king. And then we have Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Now we can't forget this classic. On stage, it's a gorgeous duet that perfectly captures the blossoming love between Simba and Nala. The staging is dreamy and romantic, with just the right touch of magic to make the audience swoon. But what really makes The Lion King special is how it blends these beloved songs with authentic African music and culture. Lebo M infused the score with traditional African instruments like the djembe drums, kalimbas, and marimbas, as well as powerful choral arrangements sung in Zulu, Swahili, and other African languages. It creates a soundscape that's as vibrant and alive as the Serengeti itself, and it's beautiful. The music isn't just an accompaniment. It's a character in its own right, guiding us through Simba's journey and immersing us in the world of the Pride Lands. Every note, every rhythm, every lyric is carefully crafted to enhance the story and leave a lasting impression. So whether you're belting out Hakuna Matata in the car or tearing up during He Lives in You, the music of The Lion King has a way of sticking with you long after the curtain falls. And honestly, that's the magic of Broadway, right? Okay, now that we've explored the incredible music, let's dive into the visuals that bring this story to life on stage. Spoiler alert, they're mind-blowing, as I will experience in March. And I'm so excited, as I mentioned. I'm sorry, but I'm so excited to go to New York and see 3 shows on Broadway. All right, let's talk about the jaw-dropping, eye-popping, mesmerizing visuals of The Lion King. If you've already seen it, lucky you, and you know what I'm going to be talking about. This is not your typical night at the theater. This is Julie Taymor's masterpiece. She didn't just think outside the box, she threw the box away and stomped on it and said, let's make something no one has ever seen before. Her groundbreaking use of puppetry and masks is pure genius. She didn't just want to tell a story about the lions, hyenas, and gazelles. She wanted to become the animals. And wow, did she succeed. The way these characters are brought to life on stage makes you forget you're watching humans in costumes. And then there's the staging. From the moment the curtain rises on the Circle of Life scene, you're not in the theater anymore. You're in the African savannah. The colors, the lighting, the movement, it's all so vibrant and alive. You can practically feel the sun rising and the grass swaying in the wind. Tamor found a way to take the vastness of the Serengeti and squeeze it onto a Broadway stage without losing any of its magic. Now let's dig into the costumes and puppetry, because this is where things get wild, literally. Let's talk about Rafiki. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how this character is brought to life? The vibrant colors, the facial expressions, the energy. Rafiki steals the show every time. Next, Scar. The mask and costume design for Scar is hauntingly beautiful. It's sleek, angular, and perfectly embodies his menacing presence. Plus, the way the actor manipulates the mask to match his expressions, genius. The hyenas. These three troublemakers are hilarious and terrifying all at once. The way they move, laugh, and slink around the stage, it's like they walked straight out of the Pride Lands and onto Broadway. Now let's talk about the puppets. Let's talk mechanics. The giraffes, literal humans on stilts, gracefully walking across the stage like they've been giraffes their whole lives. And I've seen a clip on Instagram of that, and I can't wait to see it live because they looked real. They looked like real giraffes after the actor got into the stilts and everything and started walking around. It was amazing, and I can't wait to see it in person. The elephants, gigantic, life-size puppets that somehow feel as real as the ones you'd see on a safari. And don't get me started on the cheetah puppet. It's so fluid and lifelike, it's almost hypnotizing. And it's not just the big animals that impress. Even the smallest details, like the flock of birds or the buzzing insects, are handled with such creativity that the whole stage feels alive. One of my favorite things that I've heard about this show is the audience immersion. When you're watching The Lion King, you're not just sitting in a seat, you're part of the Pride Lands. During Circle of Life, when the animals parade down the aisles, it's impossible not to gasp. I'm sure my mouth is going to be open the entire show when I go, well, my mouth's going to be open the entire time I'm in New York City. I'm not going to lie, because I'm going to be amazed with every single thing. But I'm so looking forward to all these Broadway shows. You feel like you're right there in the middle of the action when they walk down the aisle. It's magical, it's interactive, and it makes the experience unforgettable. And honestly, every single visual element in the show is a love letter to creativity. Julie Taymor and her team poured their hearts and souls into making this spectacle, and it shows. From the stunning costumes to the mind-blowing puppetry, every detail is designed to transport you to another world. So if you've ever wondered how you can take an animated movie and turn it into a live-action masterpiece, The Lion King is the answer. It's not just a musical, it's an experience, and it's one that sticks with you long after you've left the theater. I have not experienced this live, as I've mentioned, but this is all research that I've done and videos that I've watched. So it's going to be amazing, and I'm sure I will tell you more about my experience when I get back from New York. All right, now that we've explored the music, the visuals, and everything in between, let's wrap up with why this musical holds such a special place in Broadway history and in our hearts. Let's talk about the legacy of The Lion King, because it's not just a Broadway musical, it's a phenomenon. Seriously, this show has left paw prints all over theater history and pop culture. First, let's give a big roar for its awards and achievements. When The Lion King hit Broadway in 1997, it swept the Tonys, including the coveted Best Musical. And Julie Taymor, she made history as the first woman to win a Tony for Best Director of a Musical. Talk about breaking barriers and setting the stage for future creatives. But the show didn't just stop at Broadway. It conquered the world. There are productions everywhere. London, Tokyo, Sydney, and more. It's been translated into over 9 languages, including Zulu and Mandarin, making it a global sensation. And with international tours and long-running performances, it's one of the most successful musicals ever. People just can't get enough of Simba and the Gang. Now let's dive into its cultural impact. This show wasn't just about putting on a good performance, although it delivers on that. It brought something entirely new to Broadway. Families who might not have considered a night at the theater suddenly wanted to go because The Lion King spoke to everyone. Whether you were 6 or 60, it had something magical to offer. Even more importantly, The Lion King brought African culture to the forefront of a global stage. From the music, to the costumes, to the storytelling, it celebrated the richness and beauty of Africa in a way that audiences around the world could connect with and appreciate. It wasn't just about entertaining, it was about educating and celebrating a culture with deep roots and incredible traditions. Now, it's time for the fun part, personal reflections. I mentioned earlier that I've been obsessed with The Lion King ever since I saw it in the movie theaters. Yes, I was 17 or 18 and still buying Lion King curtains, but no regrets. The musical takes everything I loved about the movie and cranks it up to 11. It's like stepping into a dream I didn't even know I had. For me, The Lion King is more than just a show. It's a reminder of the magic of storytelling. It's about family, courage, and finding your place in the world. And those themes never go out of style. It's no wonder that this production has stayed so beloved. The way it connects with audiences, generation after generation, is nothing short of remarkable. So whether it's your first Broadway show or your 100th, The Lion King is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's not just theater, it's a celebration of life, art, and culture all rolled into one unforgettable night. So as we wrap up this trip through the Pride Lands, remember that The Lion King isn't just a legacy, it's a living, breathing part of Broadway's beating heart. And if you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? I'm waiting for March, and then I'm going to tell you all about it, and I can't wait to experience all this stuff that I've talked about live and in person. Well, everybody, we have reached the end of our journey through the Pride Lands. I hope you've enjoyed this roaring adventure into the world of The Lion King, from its breathtaking visuals to its unforgettable music and the incredible legacy it's left on Broadway and beyond. This show truly has it all. It's not just a musical, it's an experience, a celebration of family, courage, and finding your place in the world. And as I count down the days until my first trip to New York City this March, and my chance to finally see The Lion King on Broadway as well as Aladdin and Wicked, I can't help but feel like that little kid again, surrounded by Lion King curtains, belting out Hakuna Matata, and feeling the magic of this story. If you've seen The Lion King on stage, I would love to hear your thoughts. What was your favorite moment? Was it the opening circle of life that gave you chills? Or maybe Nala's powerful Shadowland? Share your stories with me. And if you haven't seen it yet, I hope this episode has convinced you to add it to your bucket list. Trust me, it's a show that will stay with you long after the final curtain. And I'm sure it will stay with me after I see it, as every show I've seen. I want to thank you all for joining me today on The Music and Me. Don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who needs a little Broadway magic in their life. And be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want, leave a review. It helps the podcast grow and reach more musical theater fans like us. By the way, I've never mentioned, but there is a link in the show notes where you can send me fan mail. You just click on that link and it sends a text to me, I believe. But if you want to do that, that would be awesome. Until next time, keep singing, keep dancing, and keep the music alive in your heart. Peace out, everybody. This has been the Music and Me podcast. Subscribe now so you don't miss a beat.
This has been